Welcome back to YHS on Monster Island. I'm Jacob Walsh. With me, as always, Jay Key. Jay, how you doing?
Good, Mr. Walsh. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I feel like I say this every time I record, but it feels like it's been a long time.
It has been.
Stuff gets in the way. There's conventions. You had Kaiju Go. I had a work convention. I had Dragon Con. I was hit by a hurricane and didn't have power for 10 days. All kinds of stuff happened, but we're back. And I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy you're back. And I think it's funny that despite being leveled by a hurricane, being without electricity, being without power for, 10 days plus, without internet.
No internet. I'm running off a hotspot right now.
But the best part is you still made it to like the 17 podcasts that you're part of. Hurricane be damned.
Yeah, had toy anxiety last night. I don't know what we're doing for YHS tomorrow, but yeah, still recording. You still got to work. You know what I mean? Still got to figure it out. I recorded last week. I did toy anxiety from a hotel.
Yes.
Because I got home from Dragon Con, and I was hoping, I actually didn't have to be here for the hurricane. It happened while I was at Dragon Con, and I was getting alerts. I was seeing all my friends post about the damage and the power, and I had gotten an alert on my phone like Sunday that my power was already back on. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to come home to power. So I get home Tuesday night at like 10 o'clock at night to no power. And then immediately, or maybe it was Monday because Tuesday we recorded, I had to go get a hotel. So then I was at a hotel for a couple days. And then I crashed on a friend's couch for a couple days. But I got power now, so everything's good. Just no internet.
So I'm going to ask the question everybody's thinking. You were gone. You're at Dragon Con. All the hurricane and everything happened. Are all the toys okay?
All the toys are fine.
Good.
There was one toy on the ground, which I was surprised by because I have trees down in my yard. Valdosta is like, if you drive around Valdosta right now, every other house has a hole in the roof. There are trees still in people's house. Like it hit here hard. Yeah, it hit hard. FEMA declared Valdosta in an emergency, an actual. You can supply for FEMA right now. It hit really bad. My toys are all fine. I had a Ninja Turtle laying on the floor, but he was fine. And that was it. Just one Ninja Turtle. And I was like, all right, we're good. So everything's fine here.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, hey, if anybody ever questions that your title, the hardest working man in podcasting, I think the last few weeks shows that you will go to a hotel room just to make sure you don't miss that toy anxiety, that YHS podcast, the YHS on Monster Island. You are going to make it happen. So kudos to you. And, the hurricane cannot match the tattooed titan of Tokusatsu.
Exactly. I think we kind of got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about some trailers. We're going to talk about some news, some toys, some pickups. But we'll get going, Jay. We'll jump right into it. Do you want to do? I didn't watch anything other than
what we're going to talk about,
which is our main event. So, did you have anything you watched?
I've been really, and this started for those that listened to the podcast 2 weeks ago now, which was just me. If you put up with that, I talked about. I've been really watching a lot of Spectreman, and it really, not that it started, but it really was elevated when good friend John Yerkeba, friend of the podcast, friend of YHS extended family member, and Kaiju Go special guest was over. And I was showing him some Spectreman because I was like, Dr. Gory's the greatest villain of all time. But I just honestly, every night I can't go to sleep unless I watch an episode of Spectreman. So I've been watching a ton of that. And I really think it's just because of Dr. Gory's awesome hand motions, and everything has a hand motion. And I just absolutely it's mesmerizing to me. Yeah. And I'm watching the fun English dub, who is it, Mel Wells or whoever did that one, and it's just so good. I mean, from Karas and his trench coat, and you weren't supposed to notice him because he's wearing a trench coat, to, like I said, Dr. Gory's hand motions, to the amazing monsters. I mean, I was watching last night the Dustman episodes, and that's a great one to watch. And it's just the dub is so funny. You have this terribly made, cheap kaiju suit trash monster guy, and just him crying out in the English dub, "I'm a man, not a monster. I'm a man, not a monster." Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I don't know. There's something just so silly and amazing about Spectreman, even like different than the silliness of some of the ultras and some of the common riders and some of the like Fireman and the other guys. Like, I really just feel Spectreman walks that balance. And it is like the perfect show to like watch when you're, especially the English dubs, because you don't have to read anything. When you're like laying in bed and like trying to go to sleep and just watching it. It's so good. It's so good. But that's really it.
Where you watch it? Is that on YouTube or is it? Okay.
Yeah, you can. They have the quality's so, but they have both the English sub and the English dub versions on there. Like I said, I think the English dub, this is when I recommend the English dub, because look, the story, you can survive with the little tiny differences due to the dialogue, but you can't survive without the English dub's theme song. I mean, talk about earworm. It's amazing. And then the voices are they're just so funny. So it's so great. It's so great. Yeah. But yeah,
I'll check that out. Sounds fun.
It is. Spectreman is one of the most fun of all of the like the 70s tokusatsu shows. I think there's no other way to describe it. And like I said, Dr. Gory is the greatest villain of all time. I mean, it's a blonde, green-faced chimp man, brilliant scientist in a pink lavendery suit. I mean, with crazy hand motions. I mean, he can't speak without the hand motions, and it is amazing. I mean, he does. It's like, Horus, we will now destroy the earth. It's amazing.
I mean, sounds like everything you just described. I was like, this could be in any tokusatsu film or show.
True. Yeah. And I really wish Spectreman had they did have a VHS release of some of the English dubs, I think like in the in the 80s, but I would love that series. And it's not Toei and it's not Toho. And it's not Subaraya. It's was it P Productions? It's kind of another one that owns the rights to it. And I don't actually know if like the English dub rights, if it's a separate license or anything. I have no idea. But that's one that I think would be really fun to get it restored and remastered and out there, and especially the English dub version, because I think people would just love it.
That'd be great. Yeah, I want to see that. I'm gonna check a couple episodes of that out.
Nice.
Jay, you got any toys?
I have a super duper duper light week. The last couple of weeks have been like larger pickup weeks, so this has been a really small one. But I did good friend Ryan Hartzell, who is he's one of the many Ryans for some reason. That's his common name. If you like Kaiju in the Dallas Fort Worth area, your name has to be Ryan. Great dude. Him and a couple other guys that we know, including Chance Priest, the vinyl toy maker. They went in on a space in the upstairs of this antique mall in Dallas called the North Dallas Antique Mall.
Oh, I saw you posting about this. I was checking it out.
Yeah, it's really cool. So there's this one antique mall, and the downstairs is very kind of classic antique mall, right? Like there's nothing like, oh my gosh, like it's amazing. But upstairs, there's one room that's been there forever, and it's a lot of Japanese movie posters and superhero movie posters. Some are real, some are reproductions, and then some like kind of random collectibles. But like a lot of people go to it because it's kind of cool. And then behind it, the rest of the upstairs was back to being classic, ornate dishes and random weird creepy dolls and things of that nature that you see at an antique store. So they were able to, this kind of group of guys was able to actually buy all of that space behind the one with all the movie posters and basically turn it into this kind of cool collectibles, weird, kind of like fun little like clubhouse. I mean, really, because it's all the upstairs. So they have like one room that's like really Safubi and vinyl toys and really cool stuff. They have one room that's being made into look like a VHS store, like I'm assuming an old video store. Like it's all these cool, like legitimate, like old video store shelves and stuff. Yeah. They have one that's like really weird, like propaganda, like communist propaganda, antiques and like militaria, but like really kind of weird and like, what the heck is this? Like almost like a Cold War wacky stuff, Did they have one section that is all Warriors of the Universe from Chance Priest, the toy designer, his line of kind of folk arty vinyl toys. And then just one that's more like, I would say, describe it as like if you went to a comic book store and you had like all the collectibles they have there, that kind of section of like, hot toys and really cool stuff like that. So it's a really cool area. So I went like right when they were getting it up and running, like not all the stalls had been done, but and it's called Leviathan Collectibles. They're on Instagram and Facebook. And so I went there and I wanted to pick up some things because they had a lot of really cool stuff. And I bought two things, small. The first one, just because it's weird, is I don't know if it's Bandai or Banpresto or whatever, but I bought this little cool Ultraman clock.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it looks like a Banpresto to me, but
it does.
I couldn't tell you for sure.
Well, the only reason I think it might not be is because usually Banpresto spares no space on how to get their logo and advertising out there for some reason. I think you're right. It does look like a Banpresto. It has their kind of style written all over it, but I just love
it goes so good with your Godzilla clock behind you.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
That's beautiful. That's perfect.
But I got that. But the one I was really excited was, so CCP, the toy maker, they've done some Spectreman stuff, tying it back to Spectreman.
Okay.
And they had this set of, and they did in different colorways, Spectreman, Dr. Gory, and Karas, Dr. Gory's henchman, in various colorways, but they did them in these like small kind of SD style, like 2-3 inch tall figures. And they had the all gold Karas one there. And so I was able to pick him up here. And he just looks amazing. I just absolutely love this guy. Yeah.
Looks like a wrestling figure.
Totally. Has this like tunic on with it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to get the other two. I want to definitely, if I can find him, but I just saw him there like all lonely there with all these like Godzilla characters and Ultraman.
Yeah,
like,
that was for you.
It was for me. It was for me. But they got some really cool stuff there. Like, I mean, probably for a physical location, it definitely has the most Sofubi in this area. And they have other just kind of like cool stuff. I mean, like I went in there, I thought of you immediately because they were putting up some of their VHSs and they had probably, I don't know, like a couple hundred of them out. And it was like almost all horror and like really kind of obscure, wacky horror. They had some Japanese releases, some foreign releases of them, and really cool stuff. They had some like flyers from like promotional flyers from some of these really obscure movies and stuff. And it was a cool place. But I mean, you have horror masks and horror memorabilia, VHS, Sofubi. I was like, Jake needs to visit this place.
I'd love to.
Cool, yeah. But a cool group of people too, most importantly. And so if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, go check it out and you probably will find something really neat. It might be a Marasan Godzilla. It might be, some random obscure piece of movie memorabilia from some film that you've never heard of. But it'll be cool.
That sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, man?
That's all you got?
That's all I got this week.
Two things. Whoa. Well, I don't have a ton of stuff, but I do want to say, first of all, I got this really cool shirt in the mail. This Kaiju Go shirt. Jay, these came out really awesome. This is a beautiful shirt, man.
I take no credit for me. It's all the great Chaz Foreman. Go follow him at Chazbro Toys, Chazbro with a Z. And I think there's an underscore in there on Instagram. Yeah. He's the maker of Bang Kong and a couple other really cool vinyl toys that are coming out soon. I've seen the prototypes. They're awesome. But he did all the designing for Kaiju Go, including
it's
those
all
awesome
great.
T-shirts.
Yeah, shirt's awesome. Thanks for sending that. Also, Jay, you sent me this amazing signed by Bob Eggleton copy of Famous Monsters here, which thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah. I had a couple different magazines I was trying to get him that I wanted him to sign for, and I couldn't decide, but I was like, I mean, you got to go 54 Train Biter.
That's a classic.
It's a classic. It's a classic. And I thought that was a good one. So yeah, I'm glad you liked that. That was, it was cool to have Bob there. And I know if you were able to be there, you would have been hanging out with Bob a lot. So
I would have, I would have loved it. But I appreciate it, Jay. Yeah. So I did get a couple toys. I did a little late. I know everybody else already got these. But my first wave of Super7 Godzilla Ultimates came in. So I haven't opened these guys up yet, but I wanted to show them off before I actually dug into them. But yeah, Godzilla. I got the Godzilla, and of course we got the Biollante here, which I was really excited about the Biollante being like a rose form, just because not as many of those. I will say, like, I've seen a lot of these in person. I'm not sure what I'm going to do going forward. I'm not going to be a completist on this line. Mm-hmm. And there's just too many Godzilla toys out there to be buying everything. I will tell you for sure that I'm going to buy the like melting Godzilla.
Yes, that's
because that doesn't exist anywhere else. But other than that, this might be it for me. I got these two, and I got the Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah, the Art Adams
but I'm
one.
probably calling it a day on Super 7. I think these sculpts are amazing. They look great. But there's just too much. Like I talked about this. I think I talked about this on Toy Anxiety, or I might have maybe I talked about this privately. But there's just too many. There's so we talk about toy releases on this show every episode, and there's just too much. And I just don't think. I love Super 7, but I'm not sure these are going to make the cut on a because they're so big. They take up so much space,
and they're not cheap. Yeah, they're expensive.
They're not cheap.
Yeah, and we talk about releases, and we're talking literally about like 5% of all of them out there, like the ones that we kind of like. Okay, this is what we want to talk about. There's more.
Yeah, it's the same thing that I have to do with Ninja Turtles. I have to pick and choose. Like Super 7, I pick and choose what turtles I want. NECA, I pick and choose because there's so many people making them that it's like it's harder. It's great for us, but it's making it harder on the companies because it's like everybody's like picking and choosing what they want. So but I was happy those came in.
Those are cool.
Happy to see them. I got one more thing, Jay. Super excited about it. You saw this. I gave you a heads up about it. But I happened to kind of come across this on accident. I don't remember where I saw it. I sent you this toy maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know they made Sofubi of this. And for some reason in my head, I thought it was an older figure. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to save this photo, and I'm going to research this when I get a chance. And then I happened to be on the Monster Patrol Toys website looking for a birthday gift for Jess. And instead, I bought myself a Triffid.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to me. I love Day of the Triffids. It's like a classic book. They've made a bunch of movie versions of it, and it's basically just about a killer plants that get out and slowly digest people. But there's a Sofubi version, and Monster Patrol Toys it's weird. They had 4 variations of it. 2 of each color, and the only difference on the figure is the tentacles are a little in a different area. But then they had 2 with this colorway and 2 with like a bright blue. The blue ones were sold out. So and I don't know how many they made, but after I bought this, it said sold out. So part of me thinks there might have been one of each, and or maybe just a few of each. But I bought this and it said sold out after. So I was like, oh, was there just one of these? I love Day of the Triffids, and I really love one of my favorite things that happens in the Sofubi world is sometimes it crosses over with movies from my childhood that aren't kaiju or are not Godzilla. Same with Reptilicus or even Gorgo or some of those other older movies that are not Japanese kaiju. So I was really happy to see. I was so happy about this. I bought it immediately. And they shipped it so quick. I'm so happy to have a Triffid.
And it looks awesome. And that is the Marmit Karzworks one.
Yeah.
Yep. And I know that Monster Patrol out in LA, they had the big Akamatsu-san came over, the president of Marmit came over and had some stuff and that was in like that and Skullhead and some other ones were in his featured showcase. So I'm guarantee he at least painted it.
When it came in, I wondered it didn't have a card. It wasn't in a bag or anything, but all it said was Triffid by
Akamatsu.
His name. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's a cool piece. And you're right. I love when Sofubi goes a little bit outside. And honestly, even outside of kaiju, like proper, regardless of origin, and like when it gets into like things like, I think of the Little Shop of Horrors, the Audrey 2.
Exactly.
And you can argue, especially the end scene that you showed me that was the deleted scene. I guess you could say it's kaiju. But I have a Snake Plissken from Escape from New York done in Sofubi, and I love it. From Kaiju 1. Yeah. But I love it. That's cool. And that's the fun part about like these indie designer vinyl art toys type thing is like they can cast a pretty wide net, whether licensed or not. But that's cool. Yeah. That's a great pickup.
It is. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. So